Hey, Boy Manning here. Welcome to a practice edition of the Garden Report from the Auerbach Center. It's been a minute since we've been here to talk about the Celtics and hear from Joe Mazzulla and all the players. And Torrey Craig got some action in today for the first time as a Celtic. Shorter practice, at least based on the time we arrived here. A ton going on around the city last night, including a Celtic City HBO premiere where Derek, Sam, Joe, as well as Jaylen and Jason attended. And after that, Jaylen went over to the Museum of Science, which I hadn't been to in probably over a decade, maybe like 15 years. It's been a long time since I've been there. And he hosted a shoe event for his 741 brand over there. So a bunch of Celtics made their way over there. Drew Holiday among them as well, who was at the premiere. And Jaylen's event last night. Bill Nye, the science guy, was there. So Jaylen all over the place. He's doing a shoe event this afternoon as well as we speak here. But of course, I was on the green carpet, got to talk to Wick and Sam and Derek and even Jaylen for a few minutes there. And as you all know, I've been obsessing over the captain story. I find it interesting. I do wonder how that leadership dynamic formed on the Celtics, especially going back to that Ime Udoka year, without directly naming a captain. And then, of course, Jaylen, throughout the season, has referred to himself as a captain of this team. So, how did that happen? How did that come about? Jaylen talked about it last night on that green carpet down in Boston.
Leadership role, you kind of sharing this mantle atop the franchise. You said it's not official, the captain title, between you two. How have you guys kind of talked about leadership over the years and how you're going to handle that?
People like adults don't sit down and talk about like who's going to be the leader. Like I think people think that it doesn't happen like that. Jason's more of a lead by example. He doesn't really talk a lot. He's opened his mouth a lot more than he has in the past. But Jason does not. I wouldn't say he's extremely vocal, and I haven't been either. But that's something I think I'm more comfortable with. I speak a lot on different platforms, so I've been able to carry that more a little bit, trying to just keep our morale, speaking life into everybody, talking to everybody on the bench, keeping that good feng shui as we continue to move forward. But everybody leads in their own way, in their own capacity. But in that locker room, you got to be able to inspire and move guys to get up every single night. Not just the guys at the top. You think that every day where people just wake up and be expected to work, but we're human. You know what I mean? So sometimes you got to speak life in everybody. I need you to do your job. I need you to be great. I need you to be accountable. And those are the type of leadership things that I speak into people to make sure, like, as a group, we a bunch of warriors and we're all on the hunt. And I don't think anybody in our organization can do that the way I can.
Appreciate it, man.
So great answer there, especially the part about Jason not naturally being outspoken and Jaylen himself not being in that position either. Jaylen's talked at other points about Marcus Smart's departure, opening that door for him to step into a role like that. And just talking to different players here, as well as Joe Mazzulla, it does seem like Jaylen, is the one who steps up in those tense moments, is the one trying to hold guys accountable. They want everybody to be able to do it, and I think they all want Jason involved in that process as well. But they look at it as a collective process. Jaylen looks at it as something he can put on himself, especially that line at the end there, that he feels like he's the only one who can do it to that ability, to that level. It's interesting. I think it was a major part of their run last year. You saw it boiling at that point, and now he's just running with it. And Joe Mazzulla talked about his responsibilities being defensive, getting them going pace-wise, as well as that vocal component.
I think at the end of the day, we all have a role and a responsibility to the culture and to the locker room, and giving it to one person takes away the leadership of everybody. And so I think the best thing about this team is everyone's a captain in the sense of everyone has a role to play, everyone's got a job to do, and everyone's job is to impact winning. And it looks different for different guys, and sometimes one guy's role is more important at a particular time, but at the end of the day, we all have to carry the responsibility of leadership. And so it's on all of us to do that, on and off the court all the time. And so the guys do a great job of doing that together.
Have you always felt that way, or is that something that's specific to this group?
I've kind of always felt that way. I think that's important. I never want to rob someone an opportunity. If you take a look at our team, everybody leads in different ways, right? And it's easy to point out leadership in certain ways, but for some of the guys on our roster, they lead in tremendous ways by what they do, even behind closed doors. And so the most important thing is empowering leadership at all levels and making sure that we all have a stake in the game and we're all responsible for impacting winning. I mean, we talk about embracing what his responsibility is, and that I think he has a responsibility over the course of an entire season, which he takes pride in, and it's his communication, it's his ability to impact the game defensively, and it's his ability to score in transition. But, to me, what he does when people don't see is just as important as what he does, on the defensive standpoint, how he takes care of himself, how he's here on time, all that stuff matters. So we talk about everyone's role, what their role is, and how they impact winning. And everybody in here has got to come in every day knowing that they're responsible to help us win, and that's the most important thing.
So I'm still interested to hear Jason's perspective on this. Of course, he's part of that dynamic, and alongside Jaylen, who mentioned him in that dynamic at the All-Star game when I asked about the captain situation. It's unofficial. It's not written down. They want everybody involved in the process. Derek said today Al still a heavy part of that process as well late in his career. But even back to those days where Ime wanted to name the two captains going into that 2021-22 season and ultimately didn't, they've looked at it, or they wanted it to be, I think, a shared status between Brown and Tatum. And Tatum's talked about leading in his own ways over the years too. So again, I was surprised when it happened. My first thought was, did they name a captain and not want to put it out there and have it be public? It seems more that Jaylen, despite not being named that, took it on himself, embraced it, and followed all the actions that a captain would take, even without it being yelled in the lineups and all that. Celtics haven't officially had a captain since Rajon Rondo was here in the 2014-15 season. So I know everybody's pissed. I keep asking these questions. I think we got a little bit of a story coming together here on this, and glad Jaylen has spoken at length about it and been so open and honest about it too. It's been great talking to Jaylen in general the last couple weeks here, and last night was a big night for him and the team. They're back in action against the Knicks on Sunday, 1 o'clock. We will have coverage at TD Garden before they head out on the road again. So a quick stop at home after their big win over Philadelphia on Thursday to begin the second half. I'm Bobby Mann. This has been a practice edition of the Garden Report. We'll talk to you then.